Well, good afternoon. Welcome to lesson 223 of the course. And also don't forget with the preamble of what is forgiveness, which is the beginning of an idea that is presented I think it's every 10 lessons actually. Hang on, let me double check on all that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yeah, every 10 lessons. So I like the idea to read the preamble, what is forgiveness, that idea. And if you remember at the start, a few lessons back of this section, that first line, forgiveness recognizes that what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. Right, so all of these lessons that we're reading now are all reflecting off that whole passage, not just that one line I just read, but that one line I just read is the clincher. I don't know how to put that in better words, but it's like you can't read that line and then suddenly just go, oh, okay, that's fine. What I thought my brother did to me has not occurred. Because somewhere in my mind, I think it did occur. Somewhere in my mind, I believe that the world I see around me is my reality and that everything that seems to be going on is true. And there is no way I'm going to doubt that without an experience of something that shows me that there is no world, which is why we're doing these lessons. So, got a kookaburra down here grabbing something to eat just outside. So we'll get on with it. But I like the idea to read that whole preamble. It's only one page. If you're using the white edition of A Course in Miracles, as I am, and you can Google that, white edition. You've got part A and then part B, which is the workbook. Mine's a little worse for wear here. But I like the idea to read that whole page, which is on page 398. And today, of course, as I said before, we're doing lesson 223. God is my life, I have no life but His. I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, a separate entity which moved in isolation, unattached and housed within a body. Now I know my life is God's. I have no other home and I do not exist apart from Him. He has no thoughts that are not part of me, and I have none but those which are of Him. And the prayer, Our Father, let us see the face of Christ instead of our mistakes, for we who are your holy Son are sinless. We would look upon our sinlessness, for guilt proclaims that we are not your Son, and we would not forget you longer. We are lonely here and long for heaven, where we are at home. Today we would return. Our name is yours, and we acknowledge that we are your Son. One of the things, we have a Zoom group that's going at the moment, and if you're on my Facebook page, which is Dave Phare, Phare, you'll find Tina Tyler in my friends list, Tyna, Tina Tyler, Tyler. She can add you to our Zoom group. And one of the things that I like within that group is that it's active. It's not just reading a bunch of stuff and studying a bunch of stuff. We're active. We're actively pushing the limits, seeking for our blocks and finding them. And it takes a minute, but one of the things that got me with this lesson, as I was reading it just then, even though I've read this before several times, but the first part, I was mistaken when I thought I lived apart from God, a separate entity which moved in isolation, unattached and housed within a body. Right? Housed within a body. Which is saying that I think I am my mind, or I think I am what it is that I am within a body. Right? Whereas earlier in the workbook, we think we actually are the body. All right, so that's the obvious delineation there between levels. All right, we've gone, and maybe not levels, but gradients might be a better way to put it. We're going from external referencing to internal referencing. We're bringing our external cause and effect relationships into alignment with the truth of our identity, which shifts transiently or shifts transformationally from that external referencing of my body and your body to my identity, where I think I'm within a body. Right? I am mind or spirit within a body. Right? And later on, as we go through these lessons, not even that, or even as it says in this lesson, housed within a body. How is that possible if I am as God created me? I am in creation, where I have always been and where I could only ever be, because God is everything and only creates in its own likeness, which is formless spirit. So there's so much in every one of these lessons. We'll do 224 tomorrow. They're only very short ones, but again, like, read that preamble, read the idea that precedes the block of 10 daily lessons. Like, read it before every lesson again and again and again, because I tell you, one of the things with this course that you have to overlearn it to learn it. And there are penny drop moments where you could read this 50 times and then all of a sudden it'll drop. All of a sudden you'll hear it. You know that bit in the Bible, if you're a biblical scholar, where Jesus says you have ears to hear but don't hear, eyes to see but don't see, or eyes but do not see and ears that do not hear. That's a true thing. Sometimes it takes a moment to hear this. You can be reading it, and all of a sudden, kapow, and you'll be like, oh, and then everything else, you know, it all falls into place. So anyway, thank you. Just a short one, and see you tomorrow.